especially now in COVID, because after a child receives a diagnosis of ADHD, we really know that there are different elements to what we need to provide that family to get them that support.
Right.
And, two of the
Hello, welcome to another episode of Brain Power TV with Dr. Echo. It's my pleasure to introduce to you today Dr. Nerrisa Bauer. She's an amazing fellow pediatrician and she loves talking about ADHD. And I want her to tell you how she got to this place in her life where she's doing this amazing work with kids. So, Dr. Nerrisa, welcome.
Oh, so thankful that I finally have this time to chat with you and reconnect because I love what you do as well. So
Thank you.
yeah, so in terms of so I'm a behavioral pediatrician, and I often get that question like, well, what is that? How's that different from a general pediatrician? And I say, well, it's not much different because I still went through the same training as a pediatrician, but I do focus in and hone in with ADHD, anxiety, parenting problems, depression, and all of that. So that is kind of where my passion is and what I love to do and the types of families that I like to help. Um, so yeah, I love the opportunity. And right now I have a 2-day a week part-time practice here in Indianapolis. I'm actually in my own clinic right now, in between seeing patients.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I just, I'm reminded of every time I meet families for the first time, they often feel very overwhelmed. They've either been thinking that something's amiss or their child is struggling. And as a parent, I have 2 kids of my own. Nobody likes to see their child struggle. I mean, nobody likes that. It's just not the greatest feeling, and you want to do whatever you can. And sometimes it's just really hard to know where to even start. And so the work that I have really started doing, when I first went out on my own, was really wanting to help support parents and their children to feel like they've got this game plan, and together as a team, we can figure things out, because
Right.
there's not a one solution fits all. There's
Nope.
certain things that we talk about with everybody, but we've really got to tailor that plan for that
Right.
unique family. So
Yeah.
that's what I love.
Yay.
That's what I love to do.
So wonderful. So tell us about your programs that how you help kids with ADHD in particular.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a step back and take us all the way back to when I was in Seattle. So I did my training in San Diego, and then afterwards moved to Seattle. And at that time, I was asked to start a foster care clinic. And I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about starting a new clinic from scratch. And I also didn't know how to best support kids who had a high level of behavior problems,
Right.
because as a doctor, yes, I can prescribe medicine, but the majority of these families just needed that parenting support.
Right.
And this is the secret, is like that is probably the biggest thing. Like, how can I support that family day to day
Right.
and give them that just clarity around, okay, I know the tools that I have in my toolbox and I've been here before. I can stay calm and I can just, try this. And if it doesn't work, because sometimes it won't, that I can try again. Right.
Right.
And that's really what I want to help instill in families. Like, again, what I can do as a doctor, I can prescribe medicine, I could talk to teachers, I can look at how they're learning. But
Mhm.
in the end, what I want to give families is that confidence, not
Right.
just the parents, but the kids too. And
Mhm.
so it was Seattle where I learned that I didn't know how to do this support. Like, I had this vision of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get there.
Right.
And so my mentor, I happened to find this wonderful individual who developed a parent training course. And I had just found her at the right time. She invited me to take it without having a child of my own, just sitting in and learning, seeing how it worked. And it
Right.
was there that I realized the group model is so important. As a doctor, I absolutely know how to talk to families one on one and, help guide them and help them in the moment kind of de-stress and kind of gain clarity around what they need. But
Right.
there's just something about being in a room with other parents who have that same shared experience and
Right.
realizing, oh my gosh, they understand me. Like these are my
Right.
people, And it was then that I thought, this is amazing. Like I need to bring this model to the work I do. So that
Right.
was a long backstory to telling you
Oh
that
no.
especially now in COVID, because after a child receives a diagnosis of ADHD, we really know that there are different elements to what we need to provide that family to get them that support.
Right.
And two of those things include behavioral therapy for the child, parenting support for the parent, working with the school to make sure learning is maximized, and then possibly medication and then self-care. But, the doctor's office traditionally hasn't been the place to get all those things, right? So during COVID, I thought, you know what? I had done this before where I brought the group model into the pediatric clinic for ADHD and I loved it.
Mhm.
But because of COVID, we couldn't do that anymore.
Right.
So I developed a program called Teach Me ADHD, which is designed for kids age 8 to 12,
Right.
newly diagnosed with ADHD, or maybe have had it for a while, but the family's struggling and just don't feel like they're in the right space yet.
Mhm.
And it's a class designed for kids and parents to take together. I've developed it with a detective theme. There's
Right.
family missions that they do together. And at the heart of those missions, parents and children learn skills and then go home, practice it. And then they
Right.
have to take pictures of evidence and send it to headquarters.
Love
And
it.
I've infused fun and all of these. They get spy glasses. They have junior and senior detective code names that they use.
Nice.
And then they get ongoing support. And the nice thing is it's a class of up to 10 families so
Right.
that as we're learning this, the
Mm-hmm.
kids see other kids just like them that think and
Right.
learn differently and
Right.
hear those stories. And then soon everybody's talking, everybody's sharing. And then the talking doesn't just end during the class, it happens
Right.
and continues at home because parents have taken the class, they know what they're supposed to do, they know that what their mission is for the week, and they begin to work together. So
I love it. Oh my goodness. The working together part, that's so important. Because
yes,
as you know, that parent-child bond, if it's not there, then the child isn't going to do well, no matter how many medications we give them.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I find that families who take this class are just so ready
Right.
to continue that conversation. They feel better because they know that they're not alone. They have an ongoing community online in between classes and up to 4 months after
Right.
in an exclusive community where all the other families who've gone before are there, cheering
Right.
them on,
Yeah.
continuing to brainstorm like different solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and just being there for each other.
Right.
So
Wow. I love what you created. It sounds so simple, but yet I'm sure it has such a big impact on these families because, wow, I mean, any diagnosis to any child just makes the parents have this like stab to the heart. But I'm so thankful that you have this program out there that incorporates parents and children together. I think that's the biggest thing about it. That's the key. It's like parents and children working together.
yes, and it can
Oh,
happen,
wonderful.
it
Yeah,
can
it
happen.
can. Definitely.
We
It
just set up the
can.
conditions so that it's
Mhm.
optimal and we make it
Yes.
fun and we make them get curious and we tell them, I just need you to find the clues and help me understand how your brain works. And more importantly, help you and your parents understand
That's
what
right.
you need, what your brain needs. And there's no shaming, no
Nope.
judgments, right? We're just getting the facts. We are
Right.
detectives. We never jump to conclusions.
That's
So,
right. I love it. So tell me, what tips do you give? So this program is for both kids and parents, this
yes.
TV show. So what tips would you give to kids who feel like either maybe they haven't gotten the diagnosis or they've gotten the diagnosis, but what would you tell those kids?
hmm Yeah. So a couple things. One is just know, first of all, ask questions, get curious. I think sometimes, and one of the things that parents have told me, either through my own practice or taking this class, is that this is the first time that kids really have that opportunity to explore what ADHD is, and not
Right.
just, very quick, a quick, kind of discussion about it,
Right.
but they really get to understand. Because in the class, I introduce and use the big words. We talk about the amygdala, we talk about what executive function is, but we actually pair it with fun hands-on activities so it actually clicks and makes sense. We talk
Right.
about how to begin organizing, how to prioritize. What does that even mean? How to talk to your parents, how to talk to your teacher when you feel that you need, to take an extra 5 seconds, 10 seconds to just take a minute.
Right.
If you're struggling in a certain subject, you have to learn how to self-advocate for yourself.
Right.
So for kids, I would say if you just got the diagnosis and you don't know anything about it, it can be really scary. And I understand that. And that's why my class and other resources out there is there. I want you and your parent to look for children-friendly books about ADHD. Learn all you can about it. Check out my YouTube channel. I have videos on there too.
Right.
As I find that when you get information and get the facts, it makes what seems really weird or really unknown and scary and overwhelming much more tangible and much more understandable,
Yes.
you know, and to
Absolutely.
ask questions, not to be
Mhm.
afraid of asking questions. And the other thing too is if you've heard or you hear this inner voice in your head, like, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, why do I always get in trouble? Why can't I remember where my homework is, or why can't I remember to turn it in? A lot of kids, unfortunately, with ADHD, they struggle with certain things.
Right.
But I want you to know that it doesn't mean you can't learn it. It just means you can learn. You just have to learn a different way. And you have to practice it a lot of different ways too. And
Right.
use all your different senses. And so again, that's what we do in this class is we really help try to define what ADHD is, take the mystery out of it, and then together kind of look for the clues, look for what are the things that help us learn, what are the things that help me feel better about myself, what are the things that I can do that help me just feel like I've got this, I've got a plan. And
Right.
who, if I don't know what to do, because we're all learning, right, is who can I go to for help?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so important. The who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. I mean,
Yes. Can you say that louder?
there's nothing wrong with you. The one thing that I will say, and the first thing that we do in that first class is we talk about all the amazing, famous people that have ADHD.
That's right.
And we point it all out. We're like astronauts, Olympic swimmers, musicians, songwriters, actors, right? Um, and we and chefs, race car drivers. I mean, so many things. And the fact is, they all have ADHD, but
Mm-hmm.
yet they were able to, do their dreams. And
Yes.
that is the big thing. It just because you have ADHD doesn't mean you can't do something. You can, you will.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
And because, a lot of kids have a hyper, it's not that they lack focus, they are hyper focused on the things that they like.
yes,
So it's a matter of even pointing that out to the child and especially the parents, like, hey, your kid can focus. It's usually the things that they enjoy doing. So how can we help them transfer that ability to focus in this one area to the other areas,
right.
while also building them up this strength that they have? Because that's so key for them. It's just helping the children know that they are valuable and they're good at this.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just having that conversation today with another family. She just had learned she had ADHD, maybe 6 months ago,
Right.
and they're going to be enrolling in my class. However, she said to me today, when I study, I'd like to draw at the same time. And I said, that's an important clue that you just shared with me, because I know that sometimes if you do that and parents or teachers see you doing that, they think you're not paying attention. But
Right.
you just told me something really important about what you need to learn and focus. And
Right.
that is different and that's unique to you. So the
Yeah.
fact that, first of all, you told me, and you told me in front of your parent. So
Right.
we are absolutely going to work on not getting upset when you're doing that, and realize
Right.
and try, and make sure that you're focusing, but again, allowing that to happen
Right,
because
exactly.
that's what you need.
Yes.
So
So do you ever talk to teachers to like give them this kind of information? Because, but yeah, like you just said, the teacher would say, "Oh, you're doodling, right?" But
yes,
then she's really not doodling. That's the
not to
way her
just to doodle.
brain.
I mean, like he needs that, like he or she
Yeah,
needs that to be able to kind of harness
right.
their attention. It's their
Correct.
superpower, but we do it a little differently. And it's
It's true, so true. I wish we could get to the teachers to tell them to I know but I also understand from the point of teachers, okay, they're overwhelmed, there's all this huge number of kids in class,
right.
but also to be able to understand and know that these children just need a little something different. I've seen
Hmm.
kids who need to squeeze the balls or need to cycle under their desks,
Hmm.
there's all sorts of things. It's just a matter of being flexible. But if parents are empowered with the information from their kids and how their kids learn, then hopefully they can work that out with the teacher and the schools. And so it's so important for parents, right, not to be afraid to bring this up because you're your child's advocate. You're the
Right.
first advocate your child has. And so, yeah,
Yeah. And I think too, not to underscore this, but because the child and parent are doing this together, the
exactly.
child begins to be able to feel like they can speak up. And,
Right.
when the child becomes, goes into high school, middle school, high school, and college, they're going to have to be the ones to
Right.
advocate for themselves.
Advocating for
So
themselves.
I
Mhm.
don't think it's too early to
Nope.
foster that. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Hey, that's wonderful. So what would you tell parents then
Hmm.
of
Um,
children who they may think have it or are diagnosed? What are tips you can give parents, practical tips
yeah.
to help them?
Okay. So wait, just to clarify, was it tips for them if they feel like they have ADHD or like if they're new to the diagnosis in general
Well,
for
if
to
they're new
support
to,
their
okay,
child?
so let's just say they're new to the diagnosis in general. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So again, my same word of advice is to get curious. Just like I said for your child, it's
right,
because I think there's so much myths and misinformation out there, and not every child with ADHD looks the same or acts the same. Your child is unique and has their own individual gifts and strengths. And the whole idea is that, it's okay. We have to embrace those differences, right? But we need to also understand and a couple things. I think parents struggle with, oftentimes kids, after they have this diagnosis, it's understanding what that means for their child and not looking at them through a disabled lens or a bad lens, right? I mean, it is a brain-based condition. So learning to not take things personally
right,
when your child is struggling, it's not because they're doing this on purpose. And sometimes, it's hard in the moment because you're tired, you're stressed.
yes,
I've been there, right?
yeah,
But then being able to say, oh, it's because of the executive functioning deficits that I know are present. And, even though the area of the brain that's affected with ADHD, we know that in general, even without the diagnosis of ADHD, that area of the brain responsible for
mm,
helping you navigate those moments in life is still developing into the mid 20s, right?
right,
And so, and then kids with ADHD or individuals with ADHD, those skills are lagging a couple of years even
right,
from their current age.
right,
So, first of all, just taking a step back and thinking, just understanding what ADHD is, learning to kind of reframe, especially in moments of stress, that, okay, my child is not doing this on purpose, trying
right,
to think about that behavior as a signal to you that they're struggling, and
right,
then come at it from the approach of a coach. Like I need to meet them where they are. They clearly don't know how to do this yet. And that's
right,
the key word is yet.
yes,
We will get there, but he or she is 2 years behind their regular age peers. And I think
right,
sometimes that understanding and that sensitivity helps in the moment. I
yes,
mean, yes, you can still feel frustrated. You can still feel, upset. Their kids are gonna be kids, or that's how they learn. They make mistakes. But
right,
if we can take each of those teachable moments, not just to help our child through that, but also reflect on how can I best support them in this way and really use this as a teaching opportunity and a growth opportunity for both of us,
right.
right?
Yes, I love that. And one big one I've come across, one big myth is ADHD is caused by bad parenting. So
Oh,
parents, ADHD is not because of your parenting style.
no,
No,
no.
it's a
Yes, let's say that
brain-based
again.
disorder, like Dr.
Yeah.
Nerrisa just said. Yes.
Yes.
So do not blame
Yeah.
yourself. Yes.
Yeah. It's easy though to fall into that trap, right? And the
Right.
guilt
Very.
and
Yeah.
especially if you find out that you have ADHD yourself too. I
Mhm.
mean, it is highly heritable.
Right.
So again, I've had parents be in the position after the child receives a diagnosis and they're like, wait a second, I kind of am like that too, and then they
Yeah.
just go down their own journey of
Hmm.
discovering that they might have ADHD too. So
Right.
I think it's just showing yourself grace and knowing that every day we're learning and growing in different ways. And even though we don't physically have to go to school anymore, we're just learning more about ourselves. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So wonderful. Wow. I know. Parents, I mean, parenting is
Yes.
it's a journey for sure. And none of us, even we pediatricians, trust me,
Oh,
we didn't learn this in residency. They did not teach us how to be parents.
no, they
They just
don't.
said, here, this is what you do for the kid, and bye, see you later. So we're all learning too. So, but really, if you just listen to what Dr. Nerissa said, it's so true. It's just having grace. I think when we start there for ourselves first, then we can
Mhm.
extend it to the kids. And you also talked about self-care. Can you tell parents about how important it is? Yes.
Yes. I mean, you've heard this analogy, don't put on your child's oxygen mask until you do yours first, right? I mean, I think that
Right.
one parents hear all the time, but it
Right.
is so true. I mean, as parents, I have a 14-year-old and an almost 12-year-old. And, as a parent, we always want to do everything we can for our children,
Right.
to the detriment of pushing off our own needs, right?
Right.
But I always try to remind myself, and it's okay to take a half day or take that extra 20-minute walk or to go and take a shower or like anything you need to do for yourself and nurture yourself is so important because if you want to give your children the 120% that you want to give them, you have to fill your cup too, right?
Right.
And I think the other important message that I've been really honing in on is being a parent is really consuming. I mean, you are pouring everything into your children because you want
Right.
them to be the best individuals they can be.
Right.
And, it's a long time that you have them, right?
Right.
And yet along the way, I think it's so important that as parents, we don't forget the individual identities we have. We
Yes.
were people before mothers and fathers. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's okay to still go salsa dancing. It's okay. Like I still I don't have as much time anymore, but I used to tap dance. I like
Right.
to cook. I like to read. I mean, do those things. Do those things for yourself. It's so important.
Yes, yes. And it doesn't have to be, I like how you had several examples. It doesn't have to be anything big, expensive. It doesn't have to mean go spend all this money. Just whatever it is that makes you feel happy. Because I've heard this saying, you can only give out of your overflow. So fill up your cup, like Dr. Nerissa said, and then what spills over is the love you can give. And you really can't give any love until your cup is full yourself. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm talking to myself as well. So,
We
because I
all need
haven't
those
arrived
reminders. Yes.
either.
Yes.
I still forget. So yes, it's a daily thing, right?
Yep. Daily thing. And even
Yes.
if it's like taking the first few minutes to just kind of tell yourself and run through your schedule, but then tell yourself, whatever positive mantra you need to set your
Mhm.
intention for the day. And
Right,
then have cues so that you can remember those throughout the day.
right.
Right.
Yeah, I write nice things about myself and put them on my mirror so I can see it in the morning. Oh gosh, before I go face my three lovelies. Yes,
Oh.
so whatever it takes, we have to take care of ourselves as parents. Yes, because that's the only way you can take care of your children. And your children are watching
They
everything
are,
you do.
oh yes, they are
Yes.
watching, they are listening, and
Mhm.
it's not even what you say, it's what,
What
how
you
your
do.
body reaction and all of these
Yeah.
things, they
Yes.
pick up on everything.
Everything.
So parents, it's not, I mean, sometimes parents are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm on
I know.
24/7." But you're going to make mistakes. We all do.
Mhm. We
There
all,
is no such thing as a perfect parent.
nope.
Um, but but you can go back and say, you know what? I wish I had done that a little bit different. So I'm going to go and apologize. I am going to go and say, you know, Johnny, I really lost it over there. And I am been thinking about that. I feel really horrible about how responded to you when you needed me. And I'm here now. I calmed down and I just wanted you to know that I just needed to take a moment. And now I'm ready to hear. I'm ready to listen and we're going to work this out, right?
Mm.
So it's okay to show that side because I think that is the most powerful lesson that we can do
Yeah.
because our kids otherwise think, well, you're an adult and you don't have to, you know everything or you always tell me this or that. But if we can show them that we are human and we are a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. So they too know that it's okay to fall and get up. And the
Yes.
most important part is the getting up part.
Yes.
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 Yes. And then they may offer, mommy, I can do this, or mommy, do you need help with this? I mean, what a
Yes.
beautiful thing
I
when
know.
kids do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And but then if we don't get to the point where we know it's okay to show them who we truly are and show them our mistakes, then they never
Mhm.
develop that, you know?
Mhm.
That whole they never get the ability to reach out and help you, which they I'm sure they want to, they just don't know how to because
Right.
they think you're it and you can do everything.
Yes.
So yes,
Yes.
that is so wonderful. So thank you so much. This has been so full of goodness. So can you tell our listeners how they can find you or where they can find you and
Yes,
your
please.
class? Yes.
Please, please. So, my website is Let's Talk Kids Health all together, and it's
Okay.
.org.
Yes.
And then on my website, you can find out everything you wanted to about my private practice, my courses, my Teach Me ADHD course, my YouTube channel. I also offer a free parenting book club on Facebook.
Mm.
So I pick a book every month or every other month, and we just read along. And every day or every other day, I have posts in there to help you reflect on what you're reading. Because obviously, when you read something, it sounds so simple. But often, oftentimes we find, oh, it's not so simple. And so you just need some help and some support. So I do that on Facebook. So it's at Let's Talk Kids Health.
Okay.
And I've also been interviewing authors too. So
Nice.
after we read, you get to ask questions. So it's a lot of fun.
That's wonderful. That's the best part, I think.
Yeah.
Pick their brains.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, wonderful. Wow, it's been such a pleasure having you, Dr. Nerissa, and I hope you come back again.
Oh, I would love to. And I would like to just invite you to be a guest on my show because I do
Oh,
also a weekly Facebook Live show
yes.
Thursday nights where we just talk about behavioral health, parenting, and family wellness. So I would love to have you on as well.
Yes, I'll be happy to. Yeah, so wonderful. Please check out Dr. Nerissa. She's amazing. So I hope you learned a lot from this. I did, and I really enjoyed it. So until next episode, have a wonderful week ahead and take care.
Thank you.